I feel like that cheers was about Chris.
Yeah, it was. Thank you.
Yeah, well,
Thank you for coming.
I just flew around the world, but you're toasting to your buddy over me. I'm lost.
I don't want to talk about my ex, and I don't want to hear about your ex.
Because you hiding your ex.
No, it's
Look
not
what
that
you
I'm
did.
hiding.
You went to Colombia for your ex.
I just don't feel like it should be brought up.
What is it with these two women who can both see exactly what's in front of them and yet choose to stay anyway? We've got Elise, who's just arrived in Australia with already a laundry list of concerns, but is choosing to give Joshua the benefit of the doubt anyway. And we've got Trisha, who wants to introduce Rick to her family, knowing full well that he's a liar and a cheat. Like, both ladies are letting their feelings outweigh the evidence, the clear evidence that's in front of them. So let's rewind to the start and catch up with Elise, Joshua, and of course his best friend Chris as they leave the airport.
Thank you, boys. That's why I have two of you. Two boyfriends. Chris, you want to sit up here with me? We could be a trio.
Jesus Christ.
You've heard of two birds, one stone, but have you ever heard of two boyfriends, one stone? Because that's clearly what's happened here. She arrived in Australia after a 14-hour flight, expected to be greeted by her boyfriend, Joshua, but Joshua has also brought along his best friend, Chris. And the reason for that, the reason why they're both dressed as if they've got an appointment with their bank manager to ask for a business loan, is because today just so happens to be Australia's biggest horse racing event. It's Melbourne Cup Day, which I've been reliably informed in the comments of my last video is widely known in Australia as being the race that stops an entire nation. It's clearly a big deal, and Joshua's plan was initially to collect his girlfriend from this long flight and take her straight to watch the race. But, unfortunately, stuck in traffic, they miss the main event. So, with Chris in the back seat, wounded, Joshua chooses instead to focus on the positives.
I have Elise with me, so I'm happy exactly where I am. There'll be another one next year.
Think about me for a moment. I lost money. I came to the airport for I missed the Melbourne Cup. Nah.
Oh no, poor Chris. Whatever could you have done? I mean, heaven forbid you went to watch the race alone and left Joshua and Elise in peace. What a crazy thought that would be. Now, of course, Chris doesn't get all of the blame here. Joshua is just as much, if not more, at fault as well. He was the one that agreed to take his best friend with him when going to meet his girlfriend for the very first time.
Does she know I'm here, though?
I don't know. No, I didn't say anything, no.
I mean, he clearly hasn't considered Elise at all in all of this, has he? He's okay with her spending her first day in Australia as the third wheel between himself and Chris. Either way, despite now having missed the race, the plan is still the same. They still head to the bar to make the most of it. But with their first drinks in hand, imagine Elise's shock when the toast that Joshua makes isn't dedicated to her, but rather to Chris.
Yeah, but I'm glad you came. So let's say cheers to you getting here.
Cheers.
Cheers. I feel like that cheers was about Chris.
Yeah, it was.
I just flew around the world. You're toasting to your buddy over me. I'm lost.
The fact is, Elise, you could fly twice around the world, whether or not it's Melbourne Cup Day, and Chris would still be there waiting alongside Joshua. Like, it does make you question, regardless of what Joshua says. Does he really, really consider Elise to be the woman of his dreams, if he doesn't even show her the respect to meet her solo? I can't think of too many women who'd be impressed with that situation. Still, Joshua does eventually give Elise a toast, and he thanks her for making this long and expensive trip to come and see him. But when conversation turns to their lifestyles and whether it's commonplace for the two of them to go out drinking at bars, Joshua ominously responds by saying, yeah, it is.
Do you guys go out a lot here?
We party a bit, yeah. I socialise a lot. It's part of my job.
Was it just me, or was that an awful long pause? Like, he's delivering that as if he's reporting to his parole officer. It's a very careful and very measured response, not giving too much away. Like, even Chris gets a bit tense at that question. It's almost as if Chris is watching on in suspense, keen to know whether his friend is about to lie or about to give up the lifestyle that they've both grown accustomed to. Now, eager to help his buddy out, Chris does jump to Joshua's defence. He explains that this lifestyle, taking clients out on boats and fraternising, is just part of Joshua's job. Although I'd hazard to suggest that perhaps a bit less drinking might result in you not crashing those boats. Remember, Elise informed us in the last episode that not only is Joshua broke, but he's also on the cusp of getting sacked after stealing a boat from work only to crash it into rocks. Now, perhaps sensing Elise's unease here, Joshua does try to backtrack a bit. He says that Elise is enough reason for him to stop going out. But the damage has already been done. Like, Elise isn't convinced.
But I'm looking for a guy that's more ready to slow down, like having nights in with me and my cat and snuggling. And I want Josh to be ready to change for himself, not me, you know?
So she's asking for a mature man, you know, a guy who's responsible and done with the college bro lifestyle. But what she's getting in turn is a guy who can't even afford to rent his own place by himself, who's nearly 40 years old, joint at the hip with his best friend, and who displays the characteristics of questionable decision making, shall we say. Now, keep in mind, despite what Elise may say, everything I've just described about Joshua, is very much on brand for her. This is a lady who, by her own admission, has a lot of car crash relationships. Like, she's been engaged 5 times, and that includes to a man that stole $500,000 using her identity. But she says all of those experiences have now made it crystal clear to her what she wants to avoid. So, I mean, that being the case, why is she here? Like, she did know who Joshua was before she ever stepped foot on that plane, and yet she's still here. Still, when the drinks and the toasts are over, the 3 of them head back home, or should that be head back to the short rental that Chris and Joshua have arranged while Elise is here in Australia. But as she's given the guided tour, Elise's anxiety begins to rise.
Oh no.
Yes.
This is too small. I'm trying to put my best foot forward and like be positive and show him that like I'm not a complainer. It's small as
It's funny, she seems more concerned about this than anything else she's seen today. Like, regardless of how small she thinks it is, being this critical about an apartment is not exactly the first thing that any good guest would do. It's just called manners, basic etiquette. Now, while Elise moans to the camera crew about had she known about this, she would have gone halves with Joshua to get a better place, a place with a bigger bathroom and no best friend tagging along. It's at this point that she's taken to see her bedroom.
Wait, what?
The moaning Lisa, we call it.
You wanted this picture.
Chris thought it was hilarious.
I put it up.
You know.
Yeah.
Is it weird? Yes it is. But is Joshua completely fine with it? Also yes. He sees it as hilarious. Maybe he keeps it up there for good luck. Maybe it helps him sleep better at night. I'm not sure. But when Elise suggests that perhaps he could put her picture up there instead, that suggestion instantly gets batted away. Like, the fact that Joshua finds this whole thing hilarious really does say a lot about whose comfort he's prioritising here. And that is a concern for Elise.
So like what, when we're having sex we have to look at Chris? That's weird.
When we have sex. That's pretty assumptuous of you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, what's that? That's a bit weird. Is that a double bluff, or is Joshua getting quite defensive about the thought of having sex? Now, keep this in mind because we are going to come back to that shortly. But on the topic of the ever-growing list of things that Elise is concerned about, having now seen where she's going to be sleeping, she fully lets loose and begins venting about all the improvements needed.
I asked you to get a steamer. Did you get a steamer?
Steamer?
Yeah. Do you think we should get like a closet organizer here? Do you just have a dryer?
Now, while Elise does ask for a list of things, right, in her defence, she asked for that steamer before she arrived. It was just that Josh was too busy partying and crashing boats. It's his lifestyle after all, you know? Now, Joshua promises her that he will accommodate all of her desires tomorrow morning. And that finally seems to satisfy Elise. But on that topic of satisfaction, and also getting back to the topic of sex that we were talking about earlier, these two have apparently mutually agreed that they're not going to share a bed. Joshua will be sleeping on the couch. But, cruelly, Elise decides to torture him a little before she says goodnight. Poor guy.
Why such a serious look?
Because it's, you know why?
You look like someone killed you.
Yeah, I'm getting killed inside. Painful.
He genuinely seems gutted, doesn't he? All she's doing is saying goodnight in lingerie, specially positioned, but somehow it's absolutely destroyed his day. Like, let that be a lesson to you, Joshua. Maybe, perhaps, if your best friend wasn't next door, if you didn't have a photo of your best friend hanging off the wall, heck, perhaps if today had been planned properly, romantically, just the two of you, tonight might have ended very differently. But as Joshua drags himself away back to the couch, he actually says something alone to the camera crew that perhaps I'd suggest Elise should hear before she fully unpacks her bags.
I'm a bit worried that she might find out some things, parts of my life that she's not exactly happy with. I just hope I can show her that I'm a good person, with flaws, but a good person. Hopefully she falls in love with me.
Oh dear, that doesn't sound good, does it? What is it that he's hiding? And more to the point, will it be enough for Elise to be scared off? I mean, up until this point, she has clocked all of Joshua's red flags, but still come to Australia anyway. Now, speaking of red flags, the walking epitome of a red flag is Rick. So we join him and Trisha in this episode as the pair are getting ready to go and visit Trisha's parents.
So you ready to meet my family?
I think I'm ready. I'm nervous, but I'm excited.
Just relax. You have to show them that you are a good guy.
Ah, well, that's the problem, Trisha. Being a good guy isn't exactly Rick's strength, is it? I mean, it's no wonder that he's sweating bullets. How exactly does he plan on showing Trisha's protective father that he's a good, honourable guy? Like what, is he gonna walk in there, shake the hand of the guy that's younger than him and confess right away? Hey, just want you to know, heads up, just so that we're being honest with each other, I cheated on your daughter before I got here. Yeah, probably best to avoid that topic. Rick is really beginning to get nervous here. The prospect of meeting her father is scaring him. And he actually asks Trisha, he double checks with her, are you sure you want me to meet your family? And although she confirms that she does, that doesn't appear to be enough for Rick.
You keep talking about your ex. You keep bringing him up after I thought that was, the past.
Rick seems to have this innate skill of turning nice moments into disasters. With what he's just said, you can practically hear Trisha deflate.
I thought...
Keep in mind, it was only yesterday that this guy was in tears begging for her forgiveness, and yet now he's turned the tables and he's attacking her. So why? Why is he snapping at her like that? Why is he bringing up her ex? Could this be an attempt to self-sabotage? Is he deliberately trying to pick a fight right now before going to see her family so that they don't go to see her family? Well, privately, to the camera crew, Rick shares what it was that set him off. You see, apparently, they walked past a restaurant that Trisha's ex used to take her, and when she mentioned that she liked it, Rick got the hump.
Yeah, because you said oh, this is place that your ex took you and this is cheap. I like the place.
Why do you keep bringing it up?
Because I like it.
You know how with some couples, before they argue, often there's this slow build-up where tensions grow? Yeah, well, with Rick, it's the complete opposite. He can manage to light the fuse in under 10 seconds flat. It's actually kind of impressive. The guy is a demolition expert for his own relationship. Now, frankly, after everything that he's put Trisha through, he has absolutely no right to be piping up here and having a go at her over something trivial. Honestly, so what if she mentioned that she liked a place she went to before? Is it really the end of the world? Rick is a massively insecure man, isn't he? Just the mere mention of an ex, or the thought that God forbid she doesn't message him, has him willing to burn everything to the ground. And yet, Rick's interpretation of all of this is very different.
That means you appreciate what he has done for you more than what you appreciate what I've done. That's what it is. So it seems to me that you want to be with him.
His pity party is absolutely insane. Honestly, I can't shake the feeling that this argument here is too convenient. I really do think that this is Rick trying to engineer a fight deliberately in order to avoid meeting her family. Now, just to be clear, I do also think that Rick genuinely sees himself as a victim. He is genuinely offended at the mention of her ex, and he can't see just how ludicrous it is that after everything he put her through, he's the one acting like this. Like, she mentioned an ex, but he's the one that cheated, hid it from her, made her act out his weird sexual fantasies before coming clean, and yet is now acting like she's the one that's done him wrong. Why? Because they walked past a place that she mentioned she liked, and she happened to go there with an ex. Boo-hoo. You're a grown man, Rick. Deal with it. Now, Trisha responds to Rick by saying, unlike you, I'd rather be single than go back to my ex. You, Rick, would rather go back to Colombia to see her, wouldn't you? But that, her daring to fight back, her daring to spit facts, has Rick deflecting like Neo.
I don't want to talk about my ex, and I don't want to hear about your ex.
Because you hiding your ex.
No, it's
Look
not
what
that
you
I'm
did.
hiding.
You went to Colombia for your ex.
I just don't feel like it should be brought up.
Oh, how convenient. You don't think that it should be brought up. You don't want to talk about your ex. Hey, Rick? The gall of this guy, honestly. What an absolute hypocrite. He only cheated, he only hid it and then made you dress up like Fred Flintstone, Trisha. You're out of line. How dare you bring up his ex? Doesn't she realise that Rick deserves some grace here? Why can't she understand that he's an emotional toddler that's older than her dad? Yeah, honestly, what a douche. But just when you think it can't get worse, just when you think maybe his tantrum might be over, Rick opens his mouth again.
You're getting far away from the finish line. You're running backwards when we should be running forwards.
Are you serious, Rick? You're running backwards, he has the audacity to say to her. Again, he's the one that cheated, but she's the one running backwards. What was he doing? Running forwards? Clearly this guy has his directions muddled up. Now, Trisha, despite admitting to the camera crew that she can't believe she's the one being interrogated, decides to take the moral high ground here and calm tensions. She offers Rick an olive branch.
So if you want to go, just let's go. If you want to stay, stay here.
I want to go if you're going to be committed to this relationship.
Now, I don't know why Trisha would want this guy to meet her parents, right? That's a whole separate conversation. But the way that Rick spins this back onto her is expert level, demonic level gaslighting. I only want to go if you're going to be committed to the relationship, says the cheater. Who's he to talk to her about commitment? Honestly, it's insane. Now, for whatever reason, Trisha absorbs all of this. She allows him to get away with it. She allows him to wallow in self-pity. And while they do make it out of their hotel room and into the cab on the way to meet her family, the moment they're out of the door, Rick starts to get in his own head again.
I'm afraid that Trish won't be able to fully trust me. And the fact that her family might ultimately not approve of me, it's just all too much.
I wonder why that is, Rick. Why is it that Trisha might not be able to trust you? Why is it that her parents might not approve of you? Like the way, again, he's making himself out to be a victim. It's all just too much, he says. It's very, very difficult to stomach. He clearly doesn't want to meet her family. It's all a little bit too uncomfortable for this cheat. So he'd rather pick a fight or wallow in self-pity and cry about how Trisha won't be able to trust him or her family might not approve of him. Boo-hoo. That, if indeed true, is not their fault, Rick. It's your fault. Honestly, I really, really hope that Trisha's dad does grill this guy to pieces. I mean, given that he's so good at playing the victim anyway, it's about time that he feels the heat.